Hello, everyone, again. In my rebuttal debate, I will respond to Manar Haja on debate question 3 and her sides on the Israel incursions and attacks in Palestinian areas do rise to a level of genocide. And first, I would like to thank her for this great for explaining the context of this crisis historically and recent events. Um, as I stand with Manar on her statement, I would like to build on the argument by examining the historical context and the long-term nature of force by the occupied states, showing that the occupied states' action of force is absolutely raised to the level of genocide. And I would like to start by showing the British rule after World War One and the failed of the Ottoman Empire and the beginning of what historians defined as a modern colonization led by the British and France in Middle East and in Arab world specifically. The British betrayed the Arab, especially the leaders who stood with the British forces in World War One against the Ottoman Empire, where the British promised the Arab leaders to uh, liberate their lands from the Ottoman power and give them freedom and sovereignty. And they reached their highest level of treason after announcing in 1917 a statement supporting the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine under what known as a Balfour Declaration. Moving to 1984, the Israel statehood was established, marking the Nakba, which we translate to English as a catastrophe for Palestinians. During this period, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians were forcibly displaced, with many villages destroyed and a large portion of population pushed into exile. This initial act of ethnic cleansing led to the foundation for the systematic and targeted violence against Palestinians that we observe as a part of genocide framework until today. Also, by numbers that proved in international organizations such as United Nations and other human rights organizations. This is not a new action by the occupied states. This is a systematic targeting of Palestinians has continued through a numerous major events historically, each with significant casualties. In 1948, the Nakba that I talked about in previous slides, over 750,000 Palestinians were displaced and thousands were killed as villages were destroyed or taken over by Palestinians, by Jewish people in Palestine. Also in 1967, during the Six-Day Wars, this was resulted in the death of approximately 25,000 Arab, including Palestinians, and displaced 300,000 Palestinians from Gaza and West Bank. Also during the 1982, which known as the Sapira and Shatila massacres. In these massacres, hundreds of Palestinians refugees were killed in Lebanon over a span of 3 days. So they displaced people, they become refugees, and they also bombing them and spanning them in their camp. Also in 1987, the first Intifada, approximately hundreds of thousands of people and Palestinians were killed over several years during the uprising, facing harsh crackdowns. Also 2000s, the Second Intifada, around 4,400 Palestinians were killed, with over 48,000 injured, making a period of intense military confrontation and civilians targeting. 2007, the Gaza's blockade. This blockade serves extracted essential resources, contributing to long-term humanitarian suffering and period of escalation in violence. Also 2008, the Operation Case Lead, where over 1,400 Palestinians lost their lives, including more than 400 children and 240 women. More than 5,400 were injured and thousands of homes were destroyed. The same operation in 2012 were resulted in 8 days. This operation resulted in about 180 Palestinians' deaths, including 42 children and 1,300 injuries. The same operation occurred again in 2014, which happened in 51 days. Assault left of 2,300 Palestinians dead, with around 11,000 injured. Over 144 families lost their or more members, indicating targeting attacks on a civilians' home. Also in 2021, the Sheikh Jarrah and Gaza conflict, and in this conflict, approximately 250 Palestinians were killed and over 5,000 were injured. Several residential buildings in Gaza were also destroyed, including hospitals. So why should we care about history and talking about that and emphasizing the historical context of this crisis? Because in my point of view, first, that we as Arab, we are not the ones who wronged in this sides and in this conflict, and we will never be. We were not the ones who committed massacres against the Jews in Europe. We were not the ones who displaced them, burned them, or even dispersed them. And also, I would like to make a great agree with Manar's argument about that it is not a religious conflict. We as Arab, we were living together as Muslims, as Christians, as Jews, peacefully. And the pattern of violence did not start on October 7th. It has been ongoing since 1948. Each conflict, each occupation, and each displacement contributes to what we recognize today as a prolonged and deliberate attempt to erase Palestinian identities and existence. This long history strongly supports the view that these actions by the occupied states of Israel indeed raise to the level of genocide. Thank you all for listening.